They put things you really want or need clear in the back, so you have to walk through the whole store to get to it. Or you got milk in the back?
Ice cream's only in the second row. I need. We quit doing
Are you not doing those now?
that. No, we kind of.
We're good now.
We'll do that again in the future, but it's just twice a day, every single day.
Ready?
Good pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're about out of holidays. Do something.
Let the roll call show that Councilman Demick is not present. He messaged he's working out of town and was unable to make it today. The rest of us are here. We do have a quorum.
Last workshop, we left off after the police and admin. As Mike wasn't able to be here to go over the streets, alleys, parks and rec, water and sewer.
I have them, thank you. Did you want me to?
One of the things, I got coffee.
Well, where are we looking at? That's. Streets and alleys. And then parks and rec. Since Mike wasn't able to be here for his department, so over that portion of the budget.
I gave Kim a bid estimation. Did you receive that? On doing a top coat for streets and a cleaning the filling in, blowing out the dirt and the cracks, filling them with tar.
The crack sealer?
Yeah,
Yeah, the guy won't be here till third week of May
okay.
to come and give me a quote on this parking lot and the streets.
Well, for the cemetery, I got it from Dave Manchester in the cemetery. And going around the outside of the cemetery is half a mile, exactly.
Half a mile.
And then they have 3 streets or 4 streets that are about 250 feet long. So, and his estimate, if I remember what, right, was 6,000 or 8,000. I hadn't brought my papers with me. I thought, did you ever see those? Did you see a copy of that?
No.
Okay, Kim has it.
Okay.
She's trying to join right now.
Okay,
She's out.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Services coming.
Oh, it's all-
They're from Lovell.
these guys were out of Cody, PMI.
Yeah, I got these guys from Lovell.
There she is.
They're busy in North Dakota right now.
Yeah,
So, but he's got a job and everything that CWC said we can make, we'll stop by here.
okay. We haven't done the streets, to pull out the cracks, as far as I ever know.
Our parking lot too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I told him, parking lot.
Yeah,
it's about a mile from First Street by the railroad, all the way to the end of the school. So I figure we have about 3 miles of streets to do.
3 miles.
Yeah. That's just a rough estimate.
The only one I would be concerned about is Maple, since we're planning on,
They're gonna repave that, aren't they?
well,
So there's
that, but if
part of them.
the sewer main is a
Yeah.
priority. And that would include them repaving all the roads, so if we put a whole bunch of money into that for a year or so, then we're gonna tearing it back up again. And putting it back, and that'd be my only comment.
I have no problem with that, or even if you do it only part of Maple, the south side of the highway and up to Fourth Street, wherever they tie in.
Right.
With the sewer.
But you were talking about California Street, right?
I was California, all the way up Oak. First Street here, this parking lot. At, the bank, we still own that. It needs to be taken care of. That's another asphalt place. Around the fire department completely.
What about the clinic?
Where?
The clinic?
The clinic, yeah, I forgot about it. Good idea. I think we ought to look into that and get estimates or, start putting it away to have it done. Because we need to take care of our streets.
or you talking about filling the cracks, you talking about,
Just filling the cracks.
okay,
Above and below is additional charge for the sealer on it.
right.
And, I'd like to get the sealer on it someday, but right now we can't afford it, so just take care of the cracks.
I think we paid like $2,000 for that section of Main Street over by the plaza. For the cracks,
Oh, okay.
just to give an idea, it was about 2,000. I mean, just that one section.
Cemetery gets theirs done, I think, every other year, every third year. And so they have fewer work. This year they had a lot of work. Had some bad spots they had to dig out. Does Kim remember the numbers I gave her?
She's online now. She tag it up. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Christopher, that what Bob gave me should have been in the council packet folder,
Let me go find it.
because I believe, Bob, wasn't it like 23,000 for the complete? Not just the
Oh, the silk coat as well, yes.
yes,
Yeah. I don't think we have the money for that part.
yeah.
Well, we might.
Is there any way that our city guys could do that like they do in Riverton? Cause I watch them do it around Woodwards all the time, but they come in with that tar and then hot.
I don't know, we got the equipment. Is
I
what I
don't think
don't
that's city workers. Huh?
Huh?
I don't think those were city workers.
Yeah, they're city guys are
Were
doing.
they city guys?
Uh-huh.
That did not wonder what everybody.
Yeah, they're using some tar stuff and then they're using flamethrowers or whatever to heat it up.
weed burners.
Yeah. Cause I just watched them do it Monday. But I mean, I don't want anybody getting hurt trying to do it. I didn't know if that was feasible for our guys.
I don't know. The other
Mark
option,
has some experience, he said. In doing that,
Mm-hmm,
he said he did that before, with the roads,
mm-hmm.
with the highway department.
okay, we were talking about highway.
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Yeah, I just know they have it in the back of a truck and they shovel it into and then they heat it.
Oh, filling potholes and stuff.
Well, and the cracks too. And stuff. I think it all has to do with that heat.
I didn't, I couldn't find it in there, but, as far as that goes, getting it in the budget for next year, I think it'd be easier if we get it planned this year and with our existing budget, and then carry that into next year. That'd give us the financial ability to do it this year and be able to get it all done. That's what the council wants to do. We have the leeway in this year's budget
Right.
to get it done. And even if we got it scheduled and planned, and it didn't take place until July or August, if we have a plan now, we can earmark that money in this budget year to pay for it next year.
A lot of times I've seen it do in the cold months, starting in October, where the grant will. And so, or at least on the highways.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure, Mike will probably know more about the temperature range they look for, but, I was just trying to come up with a way to accomplish it. The best way to accomplish it, because this budget year we have, it's coming to a close, but we have the ability now to do it in the existing year.
I have no problem. I just think it needs to be done, because the sooner the better. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get a quote,
Okay,
get quotes together.
so talk to him, because I gave her a paper,
Okay.
we'll place on Cody.
Yeah, that's the one that we used for the park. It was out of Cody.
Okay, PMI,
Yeah, PMI, yep.
Yeah.
That was when I was, yeah. So they did pretty good work. They were fairly reasonable.
when I talked to Dave Manchester, he said there's a place at Casper. And somebody out of Salt Lake that he's contacted that has given him fast bid, but PMI had always been the best.
And what they did for us, they scheduled it when they had a job in Riverton. So they just they're already coming down here. So they just added us in.
Yeah,
And hit Shoshoni on their way to Riverton. So
and I have no problem with that.
Did Dave's asphalt point us towards them or?
they did.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was exactly the point is that way. He gave me the wrong number the first time, so I called some random person, but I got it eventually. I think Mike and I could probably try and talk to him tomorrow and kind of get an estimate, but I think we can pay for it out of this budget year and get it done. That way it's not impacted in the next budget year. So we have other funds for other stuff, I guess.
I have no problem with that. Even if we could, yeah,
We can use 1 cent money for that, correct?
Huh? That's what I was,
Right.
that's what I was planning on using this
Okay.
budget year to pay for it.
Okay. Hope we don't lose our 1 cent money.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that is, shouldn't be controversial, but people like roads,
No,
they better go
no.
for it.
One thing, we don't have a big staff. And, we hadn't, the guy's got enough time to do it, even if we bought the proper equipment to do it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm getting at?
yeah, there's too many other obligations.
I mean, yeah, because they're,
Little maxed
yeah,
out.
they got a lot of work to do and that's just my thoughts. Right, cheaper to hire someone than hire one more person.
But I'll get with Mike tomorrow and we'll get on that. I mean, I think we got it.
Yeah.
It's not a voting thing, but I think it's just kind of a verbal thing
If
that
it's already been budgeted.
we got in the budget. My plan is, so
Let's spend it.
we're talking about next year's budget, but we can do it this year. So I think we're good. Mike and I can get it taken care of.
If we.
Just
Yeah,
get as much as we can done, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we have a finite amount, but I think we have enough to cover this. In this year's operating budget, so. We get that done. Maybe we'll, I don't know, kind of get the measurements like you were talking about, and just give them see if they can just give a over the phone bid estimate.
Well. There's a half mile at, a little bit more than half a mile, the cemetery. I forgot, I want to say it was about, it was either 6,000 or 8,000. You got 3 miles here roughly.
6 times the amount.
6 times 16. About $96,000 is what he's talking about.
Half mile for 6,000, right?
Yeah.
No, that'd be 6
6
times
to 8.
36,000
Pardon?
He said a half mile
and 3
for
miles.
6 to 8,000.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
18.
So that's 12 to 16, so 16,000 for a mile times 3.
48.
48,000.
48.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just a 9 and a 6, but we'll,
It's more money than I got currently, so I guess it.
but that's where it comes in, and we can work that this
Okay.
year, so we're good there. We'll take care of that tomorrow.
And then if we need to, we can take money, we still have money left in our paving budget.
Yeah, we have other line items that
Yeah,
also could
so
be
you use-
allocated for that too, so yeah, absolutely right.
Pine Street's also paved.
You're right. I was going California. Pine, Maple, so 4 streets by mistake. Thank you. So it is closer to 60. 50 to 60.
We got a nice chunk of it worked out, even if not all of it, that'd be a.
You definitely have to do all for the Tammy's house.
I think, yeah, I mean,
Can't do it now that you said it that way.
I can say absolutely, we have money in this year's budget to take care of that,
Okay.
so we just gotta get it planned and done.
So
That's
it's
what the
gotta be
council
smooth
wants.
in front of my house, cause mine's the bus stop.
You're right. That's a safety issue.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the only comment I have on the streets and alleys.
Your budget, Mike. See anything on streets and alleys that we need to look at
What?
on streets and alleys?
Looks good.
We're not needing any. Do you have any needs for any equipment, different equipment attachments or?
Our tools.
Well, we'd like to get another attachment for that skid steer. An auger.
Auger, yeah, both tool digger.
Mhm.
What is that, like 3,000?
Well, I bet it's more. I haven't priced one.
I haven't priced it yet. That kind of like a chipper. Wood chipper. We got a lot of.
I did price those, the wood chipper that I priced out, they could take up to 4-inch, was right about 7,000. For an industrial
Right.
chipper, not for 4 inches, about 7,000. Yeah, I think we proposed that 3 years ago, we talked about it.
Right.
We never actually moved forward with it.
Skid steer hydraulic auger. It's like 3 to 3,500, depending upon how big a guy needs to go.
Okay.
So what size auger do you want? 18?
Oh, no, 2 inches.
12, 18? This is 11 and a half.
Yeah, I'm talking about 10. What,
How big I'm just trying to remember when we put that sign.
big, big was it? You get a big hole in
The shake.
We'll just, I just did a quick search, but I mean. Like there's your 3,500, like I said,
We're not
telephone
putting too
pole
big of
signs.
holes.
Oh.
1,500.
Yeah, because apparently I. Thanks for pointing that out.
I'm sorry.
Regular old
Paper bag.
3 probably.
Oh, no, that's why.
You have a Bobcat brand?
This is this is the estimate of where we're gonna end up at the end of this fiscal year.
Okay.
So this and this, the change is looking at this one, that's the actual budget from last year versus the proposed budget for this year. They didn't change, they're all the same.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Okay, I was looking at.
Yeah, you had me for a second.
Yeah. Thought it was me. It was me. Does this account for any lighting in town? We
What's that?
gotta get some street lights. It
35.
is dark.
Okay.
Huh?
We were in the 3
They
range.
changed,
Okay.
I,
Bobcat,
Mike,
auger,
for one
drag
council,
unit.
and they came and changed 2 light bulbs, one on, Fourth and one on Sixth. They put in new bulbs.
Like
Huh.
if a guy shopped around a little bit, you can pay for $3,000 figure.
But I'm talking
Right, where
about
that's-
in California, it's so dark at night.
Yeah, I've talked about getting lights there and kind of, nothing's happened. Looked at grants and they said, no, you need to put solar lights. There's no lights from Seventh Street to the school.
Right.
And we went to YDOT and they said that that was not worthy of funding, essentially.
Okay. Guess we buy the kids headlamps.
But it's something we could do on our own, but I don't remember, I think it was like, we were looking at like, I think 5,000 if we did the self-contained with the solar lights. I think it was like 5,000, somewhere in there, 5,000 to 8,000. Per light. Per light. And you gotta remember that it's the LED lights, so it's not these ones where it's wide. You have to have more poles because the radius of the lighting is much smaller. Because it's that LED.
Right,
So,
it's not an area light.
yeah.
Just make the pole shorter.
Yeah, height, radius, yeah, math. I think that's what I'll give it up on, is just gotta figure out a different way to do it, but I agree, it's something maybe we could look at adding a couple this year. I don't know, we'd have to see if we.
Maybe we could work with the school
That's my hope.
and team up with it. Yeah, we definitely need lights, I agree.
What number did you come up with
What?
for the auger?
Around $3,000, I think a guy could come up with about.
So I was pretty close.
They had some for
3 to 4.
2,500, some for 3,500, but I mean, if you took your time and did a little shopping, about $3,000 probably get about. I mean, if you're talking for like fence posts and things like that, telephone poles or stuff, you're gonna need more like the 3,500 to $4,000.
Telephone pole needs to go farther in the ground than 4 or 5 foot too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that and the power company does them, so.
Yeah.
So if we added the a wood chipper and the auger, it'd be about 10,000 between the two.
Yeah.
Or one or the other.
Do we have money in the current budget for it then?
Well, we just agreed to spend it on blacktop.
You never told me. That was, we're looking at parks and recreation. We're not looking at streets and alleys.
Yeah,
Oh.
different one.
If we're looking to throw away money, we need some swings over there at the plaza.
I was getting to it. That's coming up.
We're gonna get you some swings.
Golly.
Where do you want the swings?
I guarantee you any event there'd be kids on them. There's some Travis Pot, some
There's-
But I know we need a wood chipper. We need one, especially with the spring cleanup and doing that. We need something. We've talked about it, we just never really. In council meetings, but we never actually made it a part of a budget to get one.
That'd simplify that a lot for us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's getting a pretty big pile out there.
Right.
I know that there's a lot of trees, tree limbs and stuff that are breaking off in town that need to be addressed and.
Yeah, cause if you drive around, people have got stacks and stacks beside their houses. Right now. And not knowing what to do with them.
Now that we can't, take them out there to the burn pit that we had before and all that stuff. It's kind of an option. So that's kind of what prompted us to talk about it, if you remember a couple of years ago. And we just kind of, I guess it went off the radar. We didn't really come back to it. So
wonder if that ought to maybe take priority over the postal digger.
I think we might, I'll talk to Mike about his budget this year. We might be able to find some money between, because he's got 4 different budgets. So he has a little bit more flexibility than I do. We might be able to find, it's only 3,000. I think we might be able to get that done this year.
Right.
And we
See
can,
if we can try to do both, you know?
I'd like to do both if we
Yeah.
can.
yeah, we can budget for both next year if you want, but I think we can probably find out that if it's 3,000, I think we can get that done this year.
Okay.
So it'll only be, 7,000 or 7,500 for a wood chipper. Would a 4-inch work for you, Mike?
The what?
4-inch wood chipper? Would that
Yeah.
work? Okay.
That'll work.
That was one I priced out, so I just.
Yeah. 'Cause I don't see anything bigger than that.
I wouldn't think so, but I say that, so I'm gonna bring a big tree stump or something.
When they get too big, Bart takes them for Harlan.
Oh, man.
He takes them.
So it's not really a category if we wanna. Where would we add that? Streets and alleys or parks and rec?
Which?
Wood chipper.
Parks and Rec,
I think that's probably a better way.
under capital outlay,
Yep. So equipment, tools.
We put in there 8,000.
I said 7,500, but. I priced it at 7,000, but
Okay.
with tax, shipping and stuff, I don't know, maybe 8,000 would be,
Next week.
safe, I guess. And then in terms of swing sets for like parks, they have a couple different versions of them. Just if you're talking about the old chain, angle iron and chain
I know.
flannels, those are about 2,500
Yeah.
for 4 swings.
So I don't think there's any swings downtown.
No.
Anywhere.
So if you're
I'm
one,
over at Travis Park and at the school. 700 West First Street, but they're not available to the public.
then if you want the more like colorful ones, like the thick plastic beams, boarding, all that nice stuff. They're anywhere up to 10,000 for the same thing. So for the iron and angle iron and ones that I grew up, and I'm sure you guys had kids.
I'd look for swings for little kids that have the little stick their feet through them and stuff like that.
Yeah, those ones
So you
come
have
up,
like
the shorter
one of
ones where they
those.
have
Okay.
seats, yeah.
Okay,
So it's multi,
well,
but-
okay, well, my types, okay.
but it's, looking, say probably with installation and stuff, let's say you're probably looking like 3,000, 3,500.
If we need to paint them, we have a painter.
I think they pretty
Mark
well, they're
already
like
did.
galvanized.
Right.
Usually.
We can paint them and make them look cool.
That's
You know,
only,
we could add that under, park supplies.
I don't know if there's room for it, but if there is, I think they'd get a lot of use. And I don't know what if there's, I don't know if the preference would be at the plaza or the Centennial.
Probably Centennial.
Cause they got the little bead, the bouncy
Right.
things, the jungle gym, all that, and there's just some swings.
I agree. I think if we did like, looking at it, like I said. Jerry, anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000,
Yeah.
but we could do like 3,000, 3,500, but we can get some, get some schematics, get some bids or whatever. And let let council kind of choose which specific one you guys want, instead of just trusting Mike and I to figure it out.
So is that,
Me and Mike would test it out and see if we can launch each other into space and make sure the kids would like that, so. Is that what you want to do?
It's just, yeah, beggars can't be choosers. I was hoping we could just find somewhere to get a decent set somewhere downtown for the kids.
Well, if we're gonna do it, we should do it right, put it where it's anchored in permanently, where
Oh,
it's.
right, yeah, but I mean, I didn't have
Oh.
like some grand
Oh, yeah,
vision of some suit,
just some
you know,
swings,
just some plain old swings. I mean, done right, so nobody gets hurt,
right.
but, and they'll last.
Right.
I think 35, from what I've seen, 3,500 would be enough to get that and make sure we get the option for the smaller sides piece that, like Bob was talking about, for
Yeah.
the older kids. Where it's not the, the tall swing, so safety,
Right.
and they have the harness where like, you can put a baby in there, a little taller and swing.
So we want to add that to Parks and Recreation swings and
I'd say under park supplies would be appropriate.
For the capital outlay, it's their long term.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you could, I guess it could fit in both, but if you just want to add it to, just add it to the 7,500 for the thing and just call it an even 11,000.
For tools and equipment, yeah.
So we can just make that 11,000 instead of 7,500. That would be the swings and the wood chipper.
And we could use a wood chipper to make nice wood bedding under
Yeah.
the swing.
Well, that's not thinking about the wood, we have those trees, once they get grown, we start putting the stuff around, we have our own
Mulch maker.
mulch, yeah, wood chips.
Is it J.C. Park or whatever in Riverton? They did the shredded tires.
Yeah,
That is the
Those are
dumbest
expensive.
thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's 101 degrees out. Go here, kid, go play on some shredded up black tires in the sun. Have a great time.
and they're expensive too.
Yeah, they're awful. I hate them.
So that would take, our budget down to about 15,000 remaining. For general fund. Oh, now we're on the water.
Okay,
Which, oh, sorry.
that's okay, let's,
We're down on the parks too. That,
did I,
that handicap ramp down there. Did you ever look at it? Pretty well. Yeah. The concrete
Which one?
down at East Park,
Oh, no.
that's pretty shut, and that, one shelter, it's. The whole thing, they got a hole in it all the way down. I mean, you can't see it when you look at it from the road or anything, you gotta go under it. It's all rotted out. That far end shelter. Down there at East Park,
I mean,
where the table's at,
yeah,
yeah, that's all rotted there.
On that bus, that's the bus station area then.
uh-huh,
Okay.
That's all rotted out. One end to the other, right down the middle. Pretty, I mean, like I said, you can't tell from the road or anything. It looks nice when you pull up, get under it. It's just all rotted out,
Yeah, I'll get someone to come take a look at it then.
yeah. Having that ramp, it's good.
and at East End, we need, clean it, wash it, get it all prepped, maybe ask guys for it again, and then we paint, we do it for.
The rest area.
Yeah, that's part of the, it's a 50-50 grant, so we get half of it back. The other half's on us.
Yeah, because we brought that up last time about having that bathroom revamped. They heard they're pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that's an easy one to do once we get into the budget year. We kind of know what the things are gonna cost. Because that one has a direct correlation with revenues and expenditures. So we can come back to that when we have an estimate of what it's gonna be. Cause right now we got, I think, 20,000 budgeted for the rest area. We get about 10,000 back. So,
We've got
If-
cushion.
yeah,
We're going into it.
but if we're not gonna use. You know what I'm saying? Like, if
Yeah.
find out something more expensive, we'll have to come back and we can modify the budget to make that work at a later time. I just don't see,
It being that bad.
well, I don't see the need to do it right now in the budget because we probably have enough money to get it done. We just gotta do it.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. But if it turns out it's gonna be a $10,000 project, then. We'll get $5,000 back, so we'll have to come up with $5,000 somewhere else, to pay for it.
Okay.
Actually. Their bus, no, right there. 17,500.
That should take probably a lot of it, but I mean, you can get it done.
Then we get, on the revenue side, we get half of that back.
Right, and with the way this wind's blowing, you might really check it out.
Yeah. And Mike, I know we haven't really talked a whole lot, but on your water enterprise fund, initially, the clerk and I were just going down certain line items to see what was spent over the years and what we're basically over budgeting for year to year to year.
Mhm.
And it's just always that way because that's what it was last year. So it wasn't this year, it was this year. So we really took a look at it and your meters, that's just the actual meters themselves, repairing them. You had $10,000 budgeted and we suggested to reduce it to 7,500. The most is spent in the last 10 years is 6,500. So that's kind of, we put it at 7,500. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it, so I'm talking to you now.
Okay.
I think the meter reader and programming, that's just the name eludes me off the top of my mind, but that's just the meter reader
Yeah.
programming stuff. And again, that one was over budgeted, so we dropped it down to 2,000. Most we saw was 1,500. And then on your computer supplies and maintenance, that one was actually elevated before you started to buy you a computer, which we're still gonna get for Bart.
Yeah.
And then, so next year you'll have all your new computers, so that's why that was reduced.
Okay,
That's the one thing we touched on it.
all right, yeah. That'll work.
But there's suggestions at this point, if you think,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and the water, I need to have the tank cleaned this year. And I got a estimate of 4,326.
How much was it, Mike?
4,326.
Okay.
Remember I showed you
Right, yep.
you, Kim? That was a total of 4,326. And on the EPA testing. The EPA come out with new rules and regulations on PFAS. They want to have initial monitoring done between this year and 2027. Those tests, they're like $300 each. And I have to take 4 per year within a 12-month period.
$1,200.
I have to take 4, yeah. Well, I have 2 testing sites. The ones up at, it has to be from the distribution, into the distribution. I have 2 testing sites that EPA I already used. That's the one at the cluster, below the tank, and well number 4. So that would be 2 tests right there. That's 600. And then within 5 to 7 months, you have to take the second set. In review, in this initial monitoring, once those are tested, like you said, I'm pretty sure there's nothing in there. I've reached out to DEQ, they don't have nothing. I still need to reach out to EPA. But anyways, those 2, then that initial monitoring, if we come out good, like I'm thinking there's nothing there, we can go to triennial. And that will just be every 3 years that we'll have to run those tests. So that's 1,200, under to 1,200. I'll be looking at on PFAS.
and so for your EPA testing, you had 4,000. This last year was the only year that we actually used more than 2,000. So that was because of all the testing we had to do with the water line break.
Yeah,
And so that jumped it up. So it was gonna be 1,200 plus the average of 2,000, just the normal stuff. I think you'd be okay.
okay. All right, yeah.
There's about 4,000 in there. for
There's
it.
4,000 there for
Yeah.
it, yeah. Yeah, the typical testing for energy labs and stuff.
Right.
Just for the normal testing that's required. It runs about 1,800 to 2,000 a year. And then just this past year, because you had to do all those.
Yeah, that was
That was a
I
nightmare.
could catch all of them.
So
But on those ones, I'm splitting them up.
Yeah.
I'm doing it the way I usually do them. Because I get 3 years to do the BOCs, SOCs, and IOCs. Those kind of expensive. So what I'm doing, I did BOCs last year. I did SOCs a couple of weeks ago. And next year I'll do the IOCs. So I'm splitting them up. So you don't get that one big bill all. But when I got here, nobody had done them. That's why I did them at the last minute, just to stay in compliance. And that's why we got a big bill at that time. But it's easier for me to split them up money wise.
It makes
I
sense.
mean, that's the way I've always done it in my testing.
Yeah.
Samples. Because if I get 3 years to do samples, I'll split them up. That way I don't have to do them all at once.
Right?
We used to have a tank line. in our
we still
budget.
do. It's not
a line item,
Yeah, it's on the actual budget,
okay,
but since this is just our worksheet.
that's what I'm trying to think,
Yeah,
where,
no,
what happened to that?
Yeah, but you're right, yeah. So we'll add that to this worksheet it'll be on the actual budget.
You used to put money in it, and carry it over from one year to the next,
Well,
we've quit doing that.
no, because at the end of the year, it just goes into the savings. The only time we can do that is if we have a project that begins now. But it won't start till next budget year.
Okay.
We can encumber that money to go into that. But as far as, because if we could do that, I want to go back to all my budgets the last 10 years for the police department, see all the money I was unspent on. But no, you're right. It's on that budget though.
Okay,
I'm giving them test, I'm having them come in and test, to clean that in July or so.
Is it like 4,300?
Yeah, that 4,300
Okay.
for next budget. That was one of my, when I talked with them, that's when I told them. They'll pay them till for July. But those have to be done every 5 years. That tank clean. The EPA.
Get that added in there.
And that enough money in training, Mike? You feel that's,
Yeah,
we,
I'm only usually sending Mark or Mike. Well, I'm trying to get Mike certified.
Mike needs to get certified in sewer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, cause he's already got water.
Yeah,
yeah, he's got water. I'm trying to get him lagoons.
yeah,
That's why I've been sending him. For mine, I do mine online.
yeah.
Mine will expire, 2 of them will expire this year, but I've already covered one, my level 3. My level 1 wastewater, I only need 2.5 hours. I can pick those up
Okay.
online. Anyway, before December 31st.
Okay.
But I've been working on them since last year. I don't have to
Right.
go.
are we gonna change any water rates?
So this, oh yeah, you want to, so this includes the water increasing $1 and sewer increasing $4. Going to $80 total from 75.
Still same amount for 10,000 gallons?
Yeah,
So the gallons has not changed?
no.
No,
Same gallons.
everything else is staying the same. The other thing I wanted, I don't know, Mike so much as Melissa, is our bulk water rates for businesses is being charged the same as residential. I believe we should charge double. Here's my line of thought on that. We charge double for commercial. Why we charge the same for bulk? So commercial should be 16 and residential should be $8 per 1,000 gallons for bulk water. Right now, we're charging $8 for bulk water for businesses, oil fields or whoever comes out here. I think it's way too cheap for business purposes, not changing anything to do with residents that are using it for household water, but for business perspective. Because all of our other rates that we have are built into commercials double what residential is. Except for bulk water is the same, it's just one flat rate. I think there should be 2 rates.
What's our bulk rate now?
$8 per 1,000. I will say this, that Melissa had to create a separate spreadsheet. One of the oil field companies felt like they were ripping us off by only charging $8 a gallon or $8 per 1,000. They actually paid more on their own.
Okay, that's what I'm going to.
Because they thought we were paying we were too cheap. They use 1 million gallons, so she had to make a separate spreadsheet to make it work because
Wasn't that number 12?
it's 12 or 14, I don't remember, Melissa would know, but yeah, they volunteered to pay more. And they actually volunteered to pay some of the sewer too. I think it was $3 for sewer or whatever per 1,000 gallons because some of the water that they use and flush down, like, we're using your, so they're actually a company that was actually, I don't know if they talked to the mayor or what, but they were actually, when they
Yeah.
approached Melissa and I, they were actually acting in good faith. But I do think that the bulk water rate for commercial applications should be more than
It
residential.
should be.
I don't think we should change the residential bulk rate, but
I have no problem with that. So at one time we had meters that you could hook up to hydrants.
We do,
Do we still have them? I know we.
we did,
lost-
no? Huh?
I have never found the meters,
Okay,
I think they got
but
like,
they use, usually the company will bring their own. But I don't have any.
is that something we need to look at buying?
we used to have one.
They're
I know we used to have
Yeah,
one.
I don't know.
they're about 7,000, 8,000. But yeah, whoever comes and gets the water, the bulk water, they bring their own meter.
Yeah.
They hook their
but
meter.
for residents, they just have the 500-gallon tank and.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to
Right.
do that one.
So do we need a motion to change the?
No, because we're this is
No,
the
this-
workshop,
no,
we're spitballing here. So basically, after all this, we'll put this into the first reading and then we'll need motions to go from there, but. It's more just kind of what Mike thinks. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah. On the commercial.
I don't know why we've never addressed it. We just never have.
Well, so we charge residential currently, what are we for 10,000 gallons?
For 10,000, it'd be $80.
That's sewer, that includes sewer,
Oh, you're talking for
water,
bulk rate. Were you talking about bulk water or residential water?
residential water.
Oh, right now we're charging 35 for water, 30. Is it?
We're gonna
No,
rate
37 for water, 38 for sewer
now,
now.
and it's gonna go,
38 for water and then 42 for sewer.
yeah,
But again, backtracking 3 years ago when we started this process. Where our rate should be was in
Sure.
between $80-$90 a month
Right,
between those
correct.
two services. And that was coming from WWDC when we were trying to get these grants for water and sewer. They said our rates were too low. And they said this is about where they should be, somewhere in that general area. This would get them within that general area. And that's.
Lander just recently had to basically agree to raise their sewer and water rates in Lander substantially for the next maybe 10 years, at least 5 years, I think. Maybe because they felt that they were too low for them. They just got $40 million worth of grants.
Well, and part of it too is, as Mike knows, is the cost of equipment or parts and stuff is.
Oh, yeah.
It's just gone up tremendously in the last 4 years that every utility is happening, even if they were
Right.
fine, it's not, this is not a race because we want to go buy a new skid steer.
No,
It's basically a cost of living raise to maintain the cost of the equipment. And it's not just the equipment, it's the cost of personnel's gone up. Because we can't pay someone $10 an hour anymore. Now we got to pay them X, Y. So everything is going up across the board. And this is, I know no one likes the rates go up. I don't like rates going up. No one does. And that's
No.
probably one of the biggest contentious issues that's ever faced the city council in the history of Wyoming. However,
and we're still maintaining that 10,000 gallons, and I don't know anybody else that gives that much, even what they're charging. Most of them are like 4,000 to 6.
yeah, I think Riverton's 5,000.
Yeah,
And then you start getting charged the overage for water usage.
They have tiers, don't they?
They might. I think you're right. I just know at 5,000, it goes into one, yeah, I think it goes, the more you use, the more expensive it gets as you
Right.
go up. But. And the biggest thing that we did that we never had before, this was 4 years ago, is we never had a depreciation fund that was actually budgeted into the budget.
Right.
That was created with these, and that was also to maintain our depreciation fund. We could reduce the depreciation fund, but that's kind of productive. So,
Cause it's depreciating.
and so to make the budget work, this was $1 for water and $4 for wastewater. And water is doing a lot better because wastewater is a static number. You know, we don't get more the more wastewater, it's a flat number. Versus water, you know,
More you use. the
more
more
use, you
pay.
pay a little bit more, so. It's not as easy to raise funds from the wastewater just because there's no other ways to do it besides just one flat fee. And that's why it's going up 4 as opposed to making them equal 1 and 1 or 2 and 2 or whatever. And because we do have such a finite amount of customers, although I do know that we're gonna have at least 3 more units, probably more coming online next year. So for each customer that adds, obviously over the course of a year, that adds more, as well as connection fees. For hooking up to the water and sewer, so. But I know of 3 units that will be coming online. Next budget year. So. Each one we get helps a little bit.
You know, speaking of water and sewer. We have forever allowed someone to shut off their water and sewer for 8-10 months or whatever. Many other municipalities don't do that. No, the infrastructure is still, I don't know.
Well, I guess my thoughts, and I know Mike, I think he could agree, is when someone turns their water off and they leave for the winter, it's Mike and his crew that has to go out when the water line busts and dig up at 20 below zero, dig up the line and get it tamped off and get the water shut off like they did last year and floods the basement of the guy's house. I do agree that that's a problem. That's costing Mike and Mike, and how many mics you got now? 5? Mike and Mike. But they're having to come out at night and fix these problems because people are unattended houses and they're not paying anything for that water service while they're gone. I don't see why they should have to pay something. Maybe not the same flat.
Well, that's what I'm getting
But
at.
is there a happy medium in there where at least there's
Sewer's
something?
still hooked, you know what I mean? I just don't know
I don't know.
it's
You pay a fee to disconnect it. To
$10.
reconnect
but
it.
it's not enough.
$10.
So that's an option to raise that fee.
Good idea.
I mean, just throwing that out. I mean,
Mhm.
That's where my mind was going as well.
Yeah.
That would be the easiest way to do it.
Mhm.
So. I
and then we
guess-
put it in the newsletter and say, hey, for those people who are snowbirds, please remember to have your water turned off if you're gonna be out of town, or have someone check your house, every other day, whatever.
We look at the wages, come out there and turn it off, especially they do it after hours, $50. Like a service call, it's double time, right? So $50 to turn it off, to turn it on.
That's something we could talk about. at the
Yeah.
Council meeting.
I mean, that's not gonna have a huge change on the budget, but
It might be
it would be a change
$1,000.
though. Yeah.
At most, I don't,
I don't know how many people do that, but
No, right now about. Last I remember, I think like 5 or 6. It's not a huge number. But it can become a problem. But some people turn it off for like a month, like they're gonna go on a vacation, they'll turn the water off and it'll be gone for like 6 weeks and then they come back and turn it back on. Things like that. It's kind of
I
a,
wonder why.
I don't know.
well, I can tell you one personal experience. Moradic's house before the one I live in now. The hose on the refrigerator for the water, it broke. They were gone.
Oh,
Yeah, but most houses have a shut off. What kind of a house doesn't have a shut off?
They
they're gone.
they were gone.
No, I'm saying rather than the city shut off.
Yeah, but they were caught.
My old house had a
Check it
ball
out.
valve. You just go down in the pit, there's a ball valve.
That, what happened is, you know,
Well, I can
They
see
didn't
the
even think
point of
about it,
shutting it
and-
off, but
yeah.
why does the city need to come shut off service?
because,
Was where I was going.
so, okay, so the homeowner is responsible to turn off their house.
Well,
Yeah,
certainly every house has a shut off other than the main.
They
city
didn't,
shut
they
off.
didn't ask the city to turn it off.
right.
They
They didn't
just,
have it.
and they may even let water run in it and trickle and,
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a house empty the winter before when it was all at 40 below. And I never froze up, but I left water running a little bit.
Well, I mean, as far as having the city disconnect or shut off service to the house, I get shutting the water main off on your way out, but
Yeah,
I think $10 is,
pretty nominal.
yeah, but I think it costs more to the town to
Yes.
go do it.
right.
That's my point.
Right.
Costs the town at least $50 to send somebody out there to do it.
Gas, wear
Gas.
kind of vehicle, employee time, blah, 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 and then you just.
And then with
that's-
the wages, then you got unemployment, insurance and all that.
That's where I just threw out $50. I mean, nobody knows the side right now, but that's just what. I mean, I don't think that's. Too discouraging, but at least it's if someone shuts it off, at least over, 3 months, whatever, I don't know. But
Right, I have no problem with that. I bring it up next council meeting.
I think we should do it.
Last one was the wastewater. Not a lot to say on the wastewater. Still got the depreciation at 5,000. Which would be nice to get it closer to 10,000 at some point. But we're not quite there yet.
When I gotta. They should have been back on the water, but when we're gonna need any upgrades in computer equipment, I'm just looking at computers. We're gonna need anything for our new SCADA system. Our employees, will they need anything?
Right now, Mike and Mike have brand new computers. Bart's about to get a new
Okay.
computer, and that's all I know.
Shouldn't that kind of be covered under the grant? I would think,
You mean
Well,
you mean the interface with the SCADA?
Yes. That's what I'm talking
I have
about, yeah.
no idea, to be honest. I don't know.
Better ask Dusty that,
But I was under the impression
No.
that Mike could use a cell phone
right?
to monitor with the new SCADA system from home. And he can activate wells right on, like, it's more of an application than a hardware thing. That was my understanding, but
that was kind of. Just, I got just a regular.
Yeah, just trying to make sure, because we're gonna have a SCADA system in our new lift station out on.
Mhm.
7th Street also. That's gonna tie in. They were reaching out, I know the engineers reaching out to Dusty to make sure everything's compatible.
But I would imagine that if there's something that system requires that we have, that would be reimbursable under the grant if it's something that we have to have for the system to work.
Right.
If it's just a general computer, that wouldn't cover it, but if it's some kind of hardware or some kind of
Right.
attachment that we have to put at town, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I don't know.
Just start thinking of that new SCADA system to make sure we're not missing. There's something we haven't, there ain't nothing I know about. I'm just bringing it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no, I'm just playing devil's advocate. What did I forget type thing,
That's a Dusty question.
That's a Dusty's question, yeah. Okay,
Is that enough for testing for you, Mike?
What's up?
Testing in the wastewater?
Any testing? This, the only thing I, that monitoring well,
Okay.
twice a year. There used to be two, but they sealed off the other one. There's only one there. But the only thing I test that one. I tested that one in February, and I'll test it again in August.
What is, like Mike going down and testing for sewer, what does that cost us?
$100 bucks.
$100
$100 a test.
plus travel down and back, or you go to Casper to test, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's been studying though.
Oh, we have $1,000 of SCADA phone line,
Yeah, that comes on our range bill.
okay? There. Is that enough? Are we gonna have any increase, or is gonna be decrease on we're going to all gas? Chlorine gas, right?
Yeah.
Is that cheaper or?
Over the
Well,
long
I'm
run,
just-
it
huh?
will be.
So we got plenty, we should have plenty enough money. I'm just thinking, is there gonna be any initial expense, or that'll be covered in a grant maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, over the long run, it'll save on fluoridation,
Mm-hmm.
what we do. Right
I
now,
was on water, I know I went back, I just seen, I was comparing the two, and I forgot that.
Yeah, and the middle column is what we're, by the end of this year, what we predict.
Right.
We spent, and so we still have, what's that? 700,
Right.
so that's about 20% more in funding than we actually spent. So if there, hopefully that'd be enough to cover that increase.
I just know we're going to gas, I think that's gonna be cheaper, but maybe, we're gonna have any extra startup cost on that?
I think that would cover underneath that grant.
Everything will be covered, because we're getting the scales, everything should
Yeah.
be covered in the grant, okay.
Well, you need any special equipment when you go in there, like self-contained breathing apparatus? For
For,
the chlorine,
well, they should have those in there.
Okay.
Wasn't that grant?
okay,
They have scales and everything.
good.
Scales and plus the storage.
I think we hit every department from last meeting to this meeting.
Right,
I don't know, do you want to have another budget workshop to go over everything with all the changes and just one final pass through before we put everything into the actual budget?
I wasn't here last week. I have a question on the airport.
Oh, yeah, sorry. She told, the clerk told me that was gonna come up. I don't, we never use it.
Well, last time I was there, I drove by it. The fence needs to be fixed.
yes, it does, I was just gonna bring that up, yeah.
That's the only thing unless it's graded once in a while, we might. But that fence needs to be repaired.
Well, what would you estimate the cost of repairing the fence to be? I would guesstimate.
I'd have to get out there.
Yeah, how much we
I
have,
have to go out and maybe put that bulb correct on that,
and the 500 would definitely not cover it.
no.
Yeah, so maybe get that and then have
Yep.
that third budget meeting and go over all that, go over the whole thing again. Just to make sure everyone's
Yeah.
comfortable before we put it in the budget and add that
Yeah.
change.
If I haven't used any of this 500. And we've got another 500, would 1,000 do it?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll have to look, see how much.
Fencing is expensive,
Yeah.
just labor and materials.
Right. Well, if he gets a brand new auger,
Yeah,
Well, then you have to get him the machine to put the roll of wire out. Yeah,
That way, when one of Herb's bowls get loose, they don't end up on the airport again.
yeah,
I thought it was,
Huh?
I thought it was the antelope they had to worry about. Everybody knows you gotta buzz the
Well, there was,
runway once to get the antelope off.
there was a bowl on it last year.
Huh.
so I guess that's another thing we could try and get a price estimate
For
for,
her people.
yeah. Inspected, but I mean, the whole fence might be just,
yeah, because I mean, if we just put a number in now, who knows, you know, what
Right.
that makes sense.
We can have a, glad you reminded me that. YDOT actually mentioned.
So, because we had a tenant, we.
They control the airports too.
Department of Transportation.
Department of Transportation, yep. Tentatively, we had another workshop on March or May 21st at 6 o'clock. If we needed one, but I think with these changes, it wouldn't hurt to have it last one. Just to do a final walkthrough before we go into
Okay.
meetings. I don't know what you guys think. I feel more comfortable just going back over everything, every department and just making sure with any changes that everything's okay.
Let's ask Joel if he wants it at 6 or 7 though.
Yeah, let's
Well, then
confirm
make
on
sure we get-
recording.
Make sure we get it timed right. What, 6
Force
o'clock
it.
works for me, it works okay for everybody else.
As long as I don't have no livestock get out, I'll be here at 6.
Okay.
So that happened to me last week.
See, I thought, I was subliminally thinking that 7 works better for you than 6.
No, cause if you know how to predict when livestock's gonna get out, you need to patent that secret and start selling it.
Buy a horse.
Yeah.
You'll have one you
Borrow.
lose
Borrow a
and
horse.
borrow, a horse, yeah.
That's the one that disappears.
That, yeah. And that's 3 of them run away from me up in the thoroughfare.
I just figured, it's a big budget. It wouldn't hurt to go through the whole
Right.
thing, just one last pass through to make
Well,
sure.
if you think we oughta, I think we oughta.
It's 21st, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
What we gotta do first?
Have you got any more?
Do the week after that,
May 28th.
May 28th.
Maybe we'll have numbers for augers and everything else then.
Yeah,
On the 28th,
And,
It's our first reading.
yes.
So the 21st would be a workshop, but
And we should have it all nailed down then,
I hope so.
I think you're right. Then it'll be before our first reading and hopefully that'll. Did we talk to Bob about senior housing, what we're talking about?
one of the things we talked about senior housing was
Not trying.
with some of the, repairing. I went into one that Judy's is just, there again, is a max, and I've been in a couple of them were pretty bad. But hers, her carpets, I think is good. You can put new carpets, but I don't know if needed, the flooring. I think, I was told that there were some windows, her windows all seem to be good. New windows always help, but I don't see an urgency. One thing we did discuss, I discussed with, Bart. Also, those air conditioners have been going out. And I had Brad take a look at, see what he thought needs to be done. Bart would like to put an enclosed, sort of a better way to get in and out of the crawl space. And those, when we have to buy them real short, fat, look like me, water heaters, that, they're really pricey. We might, I think we've changed 2 of them out. At least one. It was pricier than heck.
No, we changed 2.
That's what I was saying, change the rest of them out. Cause there's some of them getting rusty, they're all lived past their age. Or
Yeah.
they're not, the fact they should have been replaced 5 to 10 years ago. So my question, I was gonna check with plumber. Are those either try to get them and get a better deal or buy them the ones they like to have? Or would a tankless be better for that? I don't know the answer, and I don't know the price of a tankless, but they probably went up like everything
The
else.
ones I looked at online were cheaper than tanked.
That's what I used to think, but I don't know. I haven't priced one. I bought one.
I mean, installation would be more.
I bought one once, but it's, I lost it. Disappeared out of my garage in the box. I never used it.
So the difference in the installation would be you need to have the recycle line in it. So they should be able to use the same copper. My guess
Okay.
is those are all copper underneath.
Yeah.
All you have to do is cut in copper and add a recycle because they cycle their water through them.
Okay. I know nothing about them, never had one.
Yeah.
I was gonna put one
I mean,
in.
as far as gas or.
They use
electric.
gas.
They have natural gas there and close to,
So the ones we already currently have are gas heaters.
yes, they're.
So there's already a vent and all that.
Mhm. And they're close to the gas line too. So I didn't crawl down there. I'm
Well,
gonna
you
use
got
my
that
new,
neat.
yeah, I got an excuse. Anyway, but Bart and Dave. Brad went down and looked it over,
Does he do plumbing too?
yeah.
I would ask him on what he thinks the most economic and best.
And then for the heat,
'Cause Brad's, I had him do some stuff too. He shows up when he says he's gonna and charges a good price.
yeah. And he's conscientious, tried to do a good job. But same thing, he said, he thought I should check with. Uh. AC outfit and see, might be able to just put coils in. And. Have, cause you got all the duct work, they'd have to. Do you think the furnace is probably new enough? And I think,
Oh, to add a central air.
yes, add a
So,
thermostat. And
I know that sometimes it's just about the same price to put a whole brand new unit than it is to try to add AC to a pretty new unit. Had a guy said, do you want this? It's like 2-year-old, super high efficiency gas heater. You use a PVC exhaust. I mean, pretty dang new.
Right.
What's the story on it? Well, I wanted central air and it was like $200 more to get a whole entire unit than to, or it was cheaper, I think it was, to get a whole new unit than to add
Really,
air. Yeah. That's what he said.
but that would, and then we could, take the old ACs out. And surplus sell them and on the inside, you could, put a couple 2x4s up, sheetrock it. And. Even cover the old side with the old covers, when they're, whatever, but it would. We've had to replace a couple of them, at least I know, I think.
It's kind of a deal to add AC to your current heating system. Yes.
Well,
Central.
it shouldn't be, according to Dave, it's not, or not me, not Dave, Brad. According to Brad, it's.
I'm not an expert. I
That's what he
was
was
talking
telling-
on you and what I've been told.
He said they just, if it's built per coil, needs a new enough, all of them are now, he says. If you buy a new one, he said, but that's new enough, that should be, and you add a coil, they gotta, recut the tin underneath there and re-butt everything up. No, I don't know.
I don't-
Then I was also.
I guess it's.
He suggested that, I was thinking about like what we have in the community room and down at,
in the lodge.
down at the lodge.
That wasn't that bad.
Uh-uh. That worked well, but then you see, you got central, already have all the duct work, he said that's better,
Yeah.
so. But we do have some money correct in our repair and fix on senior housing.
Yeah, well, what was put in this year's budget, Bart's been working on getting everything replaced, like stoves, heaters, oven,
Right.
air conditioning units, all those things that are outdated or broken, or refrigerators that aren't working, that they've been complaining about for years, that were just old. But that was a one-time thing, because brought in some savings to cover that, because the senior housing is such a. It's such a close budget, there's not a whole lot of wiggle around there. So the most that we were able to budget for next year is 3,500 for new parts, so. Without pulling in the savings.
Means the savings that's dedicated to senior housing.
Yes, that's it, yeah, the senior
Yeah,
housing.
that's what I'm talking
Sorry.
about using.
Yeah, 3,500. There's about 73,000 left in
Right.
seniors,
That's what I thought, yeah.
senior housing savings. But although we've raised rents over the years, some small, some a little bit bigger, I think $25 was our biggest. But the problem is that we kind of grandfathered people in that have extremely low income.
Right.
So, okay, for example, we increase rent $15 a month for everybody. That only adds like $2,700 for the whole year in revenue. It's not a huge, not big. But we have a lot of tenants, more than half are paying reduced rent currently.
So it actually adds like $2. Or didn't add
Yeah,
anything.
it's penny in the bucket, But we have a lot of seniors that are living there that are paying well below, our minimum is $360 a month. That's the bare minimum that we charge. And more than half of our seniors that are living there, that's what they're paying. So some of the higher earners are paying the full rent, 30%, it's capped at 30% of their gross income. But half of them are paying reduced. So it's hard to break even when we have a tiered system essentially of that are paying in right now. So there's not a lot of flexibility in that senior housing budget other than savings and doing things that are savings that goes above and beyond. $3,500 doesn't go a long way when it comes to, changing some of this stuff out. Maybe do 1 unit a year on some of these things. So
Well, I think we ought to fix them. I think you can probably save money through quantity.
And I guess
Right.
my point is with that is getting a quote to it, coming back and saying it's gonna be X amount of dollars. And we're gonna use this not from the operating from the year to year and not be able to do maintenance in the senior housing. But we're gonna pay for this because it needs to be done and use the savings to pay for that because you're not gonna get it from the budget alone.
Correct.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
But I don't, if we're gonna do it, I agree. Just do it in one fell swoop. It needs to be upgraded to get it done. But
I think 73,000 is enough to
yeah, without having cost estimates, I mean, it doesn't really work off of that, but I agree something needs to be done. I mean, we're trying to do it piecemeal here and keep it operational and running. And right now, I know Bart's been going around X amount of money, a refrigerator costs over $1,000, a new oven's over $1,000. I mean, everything's over $1,000. So 12 units, every unit. So he's kind of triaging essentially what's the worst.
but I think if we're buying multiple units, I know for a fact that like Kusels will cut you price it, like for my rentals, my multiple rentals, I got breaks. Even when you can get things from Sears, I got to get a discount from Sears, but there's and the same thing if we do the ACs, I think David, this right there.
Well, it gives us a chance, if we plan ahead, do a little bit of shopping too, like you're saying,
Right, correct.
not you're in a bind, gotta get
No,
a
no.
fridge, cause I think our fridge, I mean, it's the old style top freezer, I think it was like $638 plus 11%
Yeah.
cash back.
Yeah, I was looking in
Wasn't as bad.
uses the other day and there was a, bridge for like $500-600. It would fit in there just fine.
And they work just fine. and-
Yeah,
and it's-
I know,
But if
there's-
you're not in an emergency situation, like you're saying.
Yeah, when you get in a
had-
bind, we had to buy what,
Buy
I
what's in
went-
stock today.
I had to run to Riverton one day and buy 2 ACs. There was that 3 summers ago.
Mhm.
get what they got at the time.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, well, she get to make it fit and put them in. No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking we should do that, I think that's worth, but if you don't think we should, then I don't know, but it makes sense to me. To upgrade them a level.
Where do we get our savings for these units?
Well, in my opinion, it was done years and years and years ago, and it was just randomly put into that, assigned to that category
Okay.
from the general fund.
Yeah.
It wasn't derived from,
No.
That's
No.
like.
not paying $200 a month,
Yeah,
like, well, it used to be, yeah. It was just stuff from the general fund, just put in that account and just relabeled as senior housing. So I just honored that and just kept going when I was the clerk. I didn't.
Yeah, so yeah. Another option is to make a. Talk to Bart and say, what's the most obvious item that's broken, or that needs to be repaired? Is it the heating system? And then go by a list and say, okay, this year we wanna do washer and dryers. Next year we'll look at the roof. Or and start going down, something like that, and say, because, 70,000 is not gonna last at all.
And that was kind of my point before. We're kind of in a pickle here because 70,000 is not going to fix everything. Our current rents aren't giving us enough revenue to fix things even over time. And so we got to come up with, what do we need to last the
well,
next 10 years?
$70,000 may be able to fix everything.
In 12 units?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. I don't know.
But we need more information on what really needs to be done with the units as a whole. I think
Water tanks all need replaced.
Cause
That's
they're
a
gonna
fact.
start splitting and causing more damage.
Yeah,
progressive
every
damage.
every one of them are, they're without a doubt. They need replaced.
So we need to get a quote on what it's gonna cost to do one or 12 as a bulk
Or 10,
or 10 as a bulk. Or
if
whatever.
we replace,
two, yeah,
we
sorry.
replace two.
Yeah, yeah,
it'd be
so 10. And start from there.
No, that's for sure needs to be done.
So I would say we need to call and get quote. There's no use speculating right now because,
Right.
we need a quote.
Yeah, for the, that's for certain. That should be, because they're a pain in the butt to change out, hard to deal with, and
Especially in the wintertime.
yeah. And you pay a premium for the son of guns too. I couldn't believe that, 'cause I bought a new one. About the same time we replaced, and what, that little short fat one was twice what I paid for mine. That's for sure something we should,
So let's get prices and go from there.
Another reason why I said have another workshop.
Okay.
Well, that's, if we get ahead of it, like you're saying, it'll save a lot of money in the long term.
Oh, yeah.
Not only,
Over buying stuff under emergency
well,
situations.
that, plus we'll save on town maintenance.
Right.
Because we can look and say,
Instead of spending a day over there trying to fix this or doing something else.
that's it, we'll save money that way.
So I
So,
mean, it's kind of silly letting them, I guess you're right, it's kind of silly letting them fall apart with $73,000 in
Right.
savings.
look,
But I'm
go home.
cheap and I love paying $73,000 in things.
Summit's the one, I think Summit's the one that put all those in,
They are.
so,
The heating unit.
yes, so they'd have the specs on that,
They'd know exactly what it takes.
right, yes.
They can put in tables here too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They can give you two prices for tank and tankless.
Sure. I was leaning towards tankless, but I've never had, so I don't know. But
I've not heard anything bad from anybody who has one, electric or gas. I've just heard.
I didn't
nothing
either.
good.
So on my tankless that I use, once a year. I turn my water off and go, I circulate for about an hour to 2 hours, a gallon of vinegar.
Sure.
So just to clean them out, the scale out, that,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's
How long does that take besides the hour, 2 hours, about 10 minutes?
to hook it up, yeah. I just have a little submersible pump, I put in a 5 gallon bucket. Pour the vinegar in it, off I go. I run for 2 hours.
So it'd take about a half a day once a year to do the 12 units.
Depends how many pumps you have. A 5 gallon bucket.
yeah.
Or something.
I mean, that's the maintenance on it.
So we should get an estimate on both and see which is,
Yes.
okay, let's make a motion so we can.
So moved. Councilwoman Harkey moved that we adjourn the special meeting, budget session.
What's a meeting now?
It's a meeting.
Not a workshop. It's
It's a
special meeting.
workshop. By state statute, if it's called for and there is a quorum, it's a meeting. Even if you don't take any action.
Yeah, but the minutes are very vague.
Yeah. And then that meets all the legal requirements for a work session meeting also.
Yeah, I'm saying,
There's no action
work session
taken.
meeting versus a
No.
special meeting.
Yeah, well, it's a special, a work session is a special meeting. It's been seconded by who?
Me.
Councilman Zent second. Any further discussion on being all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, the same, motion passed, only affirmative, and 8:37. Close.